So I've been getting this question a lot lately, and I'm just gonna flat out say yes. The answer is yes. I am still using the Sony a7 II. I ain't changed that baby yet. I figured today would be a good time to go ahead and address if everything I felt about the camera before was just the honeymoon phase, or if it was real love. I'm searching for real love. I always wanted to sing, but I sound terrible. What's good, family? It's your boy Just Be Wise, and today we're gonna talk about the Sony a7 II. And yes, just like it says in the title, I am still using it for everything you see me post. Videos, photos, I guess that's all you would actually see me post. Anyway, so right now I cannot actually show you any images of the camera since I'm currently using the camera to shoot the video, but you don't actually care about what the camera looks like. You care about the result that the camera produces and how to get the best quality result that you can produce out of this camera, right? Right. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. So let's quickly get into some of the specs and then let's get down to the nitty gritty. So first thing first, the camera has a full frame sensor. 5-axis image stabilization, what pretty much just means if you got a little bit of shaky hands, it's gonna help you out. 24 megapixels, has 117 autofocus points. The autofocus is still not that great though. Has a single SD card slot, so if you're looking for the double card slot, you're gonna look to pay more money down like for another camera. This ain't what you want, fam. If you're looking for high speed continuous shooting, this is also not what you want. This one shoots at about 5 frames per second in continuous shooting. Now as for video, you get about 50 megabytes per second in 24 frames, 30 and 60 frames per second in 1080p video, which is actually pretty decent for the price of this camera. Last but not least, you get the WAC series batteries. The W series batteries with this camera. Now, since I just called it the WAC series batteries, let's go ahead and start with the battery life. Now, it's not great, right? So I would advise anyone to go ahead and get the battery grip along with the camera. I think you can get the knockoff brand ones. Like I'll put a link in the description of the one I have. I can't remember exactly how much it costs, but I will put that up, how much it costs, like right here somewhere. You'll see some information, and of course the link will be in the description. Now, why I'm saying to get that. One, if you have bigger hands, as I do, since the camera is so small, the battery grip actually will make it feel better in your hands. And in addition to that, the added weight of having 2 batteries in the battery grip, along with the battery grip obviously, will make the camera feel a little bit more steady for all you filmmakers out there. So if you're using handheld footage, along with the 5-axis image stabilization, this is gonna help your handheld footage be just that little bit better because it doesn't feel like you're holding a piece of paper. Now, with the battery grip, I've easily shot for about 2 hours before I had to change the batteries. And with photo, I can't really put a number on it, only because I feel like I could shoot all day. I don't even think about my battery life when I'm using my battery grip, when I'm doing photography. It feels like I'm just firing off all day. Now, I've said this before when speaking about this camera, and I'm gonna say it again. This camera makes photography so much fun. The images you get out of this little guy are sick. The sensor, even though it's a few years old, is still so good. Photo shot in low light conditions are much better than what you'll get from the video shot in low light conditions, especially when you shoot in RAW. The dynamic range on this camera is very good. Like, you'll be surprised at what details you can recover when editing. Now, that doesn't mean this thing is a low light beast. However, with photos, it's pretty darn good. So it can get you out of a pinch is what I'm trying to say. The autofocus also works a lot better. I think this camera just works better as a photography camera than a video camera, since it's more geared for photography. That's just the way it is. Now, I use it a lot for video, but it's more geared for photography. So like the autofocus is better. Obviously, we already talked about the low light conditions are better. The image shot are amazing. They're great. So it's geared more for photographers. But again, the autofocus does have a lot to yearn for. You know, it's not the best autofocus out there. You can get a Canon for half the price with better autofocus. So if autofocus is your main thing, then this is not going to be your main want to. But if you can, you know, get over having a little bit more of a delay to lock in your shot, or if you're able to just learn how to do it in manual, then this may be better for you, because again, the images that you get out of this are amazing, even though the autofocus is not the best. On to video image quality. So we just finished talking about how great stuff was for photos, but now let's talk about how great stuff is for videos. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that, yo, this thing produces the best video you have seen. Nah, we ain't here for that. You know, we here to talk truth. So it does produce very high quality video, and you can actually make professional looking videos from this camera. I've done it. However, it does require work. So there are a couple things, like people have been reaching out to me wondering, hey, one, are you still using the Sony a7 II? Your videos are starting to look better. It's not because I changed cameras, guys. It's because I've learned. Like, I've gotten a lot better. So one of the biggest things you can do to improve the quality of your image is lighting. Better lighting is gonna make all the difference. Number two, the next best thing you do is work on your custom profile, your custom picture profile. So if you're just using a standard picture profile, you may want to tweak that a little bit to get the right colors in there, so it just doesn't look like Sony has a problem with a green tint in their images. So you can fix all of that with custom profiles. If you want to learn more about that, you can just check this link right here, I think, or right here. It's gonna be up here. I made a video all dedicated to just custom profiles with specifically the Sony a7 II. So if this is the camera you got and you want to fix that, this is where you go. You go somewhere up here. Let's talk about low light a little bit. I owe you guys a low light test video. Okay, I'm gonna work on that. I keep telling myself I need to work on it, and I just keep not having a chance to. Excuse me, that was weird. But I just keep not having a chance to do it. So I am going to produce a low light video for you guys, so you can see what it's like to use the a7 II in low light conditions. But I will tell you, it's not great. Okay, if you're gonna shoot a lot of low light video, this is not what you want. This is not the camera you want. Get something better. After you get to about 2000 ISO, the image starts to break up. So if you're gonna be just doing stuff for fun, then you're fine. You're fine. But if also, you gotta think about, you're gonna lose a lot with the autofocus too. The autofocus is trash when it comes to low light. Like, it might as well not even be there. You're gonna shoot all in manual at that point because it's very, very bad, right? However, what I will say is, if you have a little, if you're less than 2000 ISO, then you can work on it. You can work with it. But when you get over 2000 ISO, it's not great. So low light is not, this is not for this. Now, coming from talking about the low light autofocus, let's just talk about the autofocus in this camera in general. The autofocus in this camera for video is not great. However, it's decent. I wouldn't say it's 100% reliable. It's not as good as any of the of the Canon cameras that I've used before. But there are some things that you can do to make sure that the autofocus is gonna work for you. And I just actually recently did a video breaking down the autofocus for this camera, and it should help you. And a quick tip is, don't use the wide autofocus unless you're vlogging, which I wouldn't vlog on this camera because it doesn't have a flip screen, so you can't see what you're doing. But that would be my first tip. If you do want to know anything else about the autofocus, you can check this link up here. I have too many links right here. I think I'm just gonna let the links ride and not tell you about them anymore. I don't like doing the whole YouTube thing. I just want to talk to you as you're my friend. Because it's weird. Maybe I should just start telling my friends to check the link. Like, if they ask me for help in person, that would be weird, right? So I'm gonna stop telling you guys about the links. If you see it happening, you'll just do it if you want to, right? I don't have to tell you. Okay, sorry. Went on a tangent. Get back on track, Brandon. Okay, so what I really wanted to say is, the autofocus on here is good enough as long as you know what you're doing. And I have a video where I have tips to show you what to do. Now, if you're new to cameras in general, this May take some work in the beginning to understand. It's a lot of buttons on this camera, a lot of custom buttons on this camera. It's not so easy to just hop on and use if you want to shoot manual. You want to actually set your own settings to fire off some stuff. It may take you a little while to get used to all the buttons, unless you know exactly where all the buttons are laid out if you've done all this stuff before. Like Canon makes it super easy. Anyone can pick up their cameras and fire off shots. This one is not that easy, but what I will say is it's completely customizable. So you may not be able to pick it up on day one and just start, knowing where everything is, but you can set it perfectly customized to how you like to shoot it, which I think is amazing. Now I'm gonna give you another little tip here. If you're doing this for run and gun video making, the record button on the side is dumb. Right? That's the dumbest thing they could have done. They put it in the most awkward place. Change your C3 button to record. It's in the perfect place. Your thumb is right there. Bam, hit record, bam, stop recording. That's gonna change your life. I promise you. That's gonna change your life. So the ease of use is not that great in the beginning, and it has it has a mess of settings all inside. So you may want to sit down for about an hour and a half and set your thing up. Just go ahead, sit down and set your camera up, play with it before you actually begin to play with it. That sounds dirty. I don't want to sound dirty. It's gonna take you a little bit to set up your camera. What am I talking about right now? Okay, so all in all, I still really love this camera. Like, I really love this camera, right? And I do plan on upgrading to the Sony a7 III this year, hopefully sometime soon. But I think all of my videos that you guys see here on YouTube, all of my pictures that you guys see on Instagram, more than likely there's at least 80 to 90% of them are still going to be shot on this camera with my normal setup, because all the sentimental values I have. My channel pretty much started with and because of my first review of this camera. So the reason I met most of you guys, and I love the community that we've built here, just kind of coming together about an old camera. Like the people I've met through this community have been amazing, super encouraging, and fabulously creative. Like, I love all of you guys, and I'm gonna end it here before I get way too sentimental, but I really do appreciate the community that we've built here, and I hope we keep building this same community with the same love that we have, always encouraging each other. So I'm gonna end it there before I start crying. I'm not gonna cry, I promise. I am a crier though, but I'm not gonna cry. So if you like the video, please like the video. If it's something that you think can help someone else, please share. If you're new here, subscribe. This is all the YouTube stuff I'm bad at, but do all that. Comment below if this is your first time seeing one of my videos and you think about not if it's your first. Just comment below about the Sony a7 II. I don't know what else to talk about. We done. We're done.
We're done.